welcome. We're live on ITV for the culmination of an extraordinary television show. We're backstage at the Survivor studio with our two finalists, Jackie and Charlotte, who are eagerly awaiting to discover the contents of the casket. Now, I know this has been safe with you, hasn't it?
Of course.
You haven't looked?
Yeah.
Can I trust it with you?
Yes, trust us.
I trust no one. In here are the 7 votes from the 7 jury members that will decide and determine who is going to be the ultimate survivor. They have already seen off 14 other survivors through physical and mental challenges, scheming and some good old-fashioned skullduggery. But there can only be one winner. One survivor who will take home £1 million in cash. This is the £1 million in cash, and this is the Survivor £1 million final. This is the £1 million live final Survivor. Tonight we'll be bringing back together for the very first time all of our 16 competitors who have been taking part in television's most exciting game show. Joining us here in the studios are a few family and a few friends. As nervous as me. During tonight's programme, we will follow those last 2 remaining survivors as they live through the very last night and day on the island. Charlotte and Jackie pondered their fate, knowing this time they would face one last tribal council, but a very different one. The 7 members of the jury would decide who will win the title of Ultimate Survivor and walk away with £1 million in cash. Charlotte and Jackie have had the opportunity to address the jury twice, and the jury can put questions to the 2 finalists before making the final decision. But before all that, let's remind ourselves of what our 16 contestants have been up to during the last 40 days and nights. Here's Mark Austin.
Days ago, 16 Britons were cast overboard in the South China Sea. Split into 2 tribes, they rowed to the island of Pulau Tiga and made their homes on separate beaches. They faced many exhausting physical challenges.
I screwed up again.
After 6 survivors were voted off the island, the tribes merged. And possibly the most memorable challenge took place. The most extraordinary 23 hours of all on the island. But the island's beauty may have passed some by, as bitterness and recrimination ate away at the newly formed Sakutu tribe.
She's a bossy little crow.
She's underhand, greedy, selfish, vain.
And instantly I felt betrayed.
I'm surprised he hasn't eaten the Bible yet.
After another 8 were voted off, we're left with the final 2 survivors, Charlotte and Jackie, who will contest the prize of £1 million.
So, who would you vote for if you at home had to decide who deserves the £1 million? As we know, the votes have been cast, but if you were sitting on the jury, who would you vote for? If you think Charlotte should win, then call this number, 09068 444401. If you think Jackie should win, then call 09068 444402. Calls should cost no more than 10 pence. And please dial carefully. Those numbers again, 09068 444401 to vote for Charlotte, and 09068 444402 to vote for Jackie. And not only that, if you have any burning questions or thoughts that you'd like to put to any of our survivors, you can by emailing us now. Log on to www.itv-survivor.co.uk. We'll do the rest. But now let's go back to Pulau Tiga to find out what happened after Richard was voted off at the penultimate tribal council, leaving our two finalists, Jackie and Charlotte, alone on the island for one last night and day.
Well, we're the final two. We're the losers. We're the last two. Oh, I can't believe it, can you?
No, too good to be true.
Oh, wow. But that is fantastic that we're in the final two. We can have a really girly day on the beach tomorrow.
I know, we will. I can't believe I'm in the final two.
Wow, look at the fire. Girls know how to build a fire. 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, up.
Isn't it crazy to think of all the people that have gone home? They'll never, especially Halang members, expected me to be going just straight after them. And that's what we all said, you know, we'll be going, you know, we're voted off one by one.
Yeah. And the same's for me. I mean, I was in a group of people and they didn't really hold out any hope for me getting far in the game because I wasn't physically strong and I didn't have a lot of confidence, and I beat them all, and I've outwitted people that thought I was stupid on more than one occasion.
Well, I'm sorry, but there's ways to play this game. You don't have to be a blatant outwitter. Do you know what I mean? That's not the way to play the game. You've got to be...
It's an all-rounder.
Yeah, you have got to be all-rounder. You can't just be fantastically fit and not get on with anyone. You can't not got, you know, get on with everybody and not have any other attributes.
At the end of the day, you've got the jury to decide your fate, haven't you, really?
Yeah.
So if you have been a witch for the past 4 or 5 weeks, then you aren't going to win.
No, that's right.
I've been a bit of a witch.
So have I. Never mind, we'll sit round our cauldron at home. Uh-oh.
Well, joining us here tonight is Stephen Flett, our clinical psychologist. Stephen carried out psychometric tests on all 16 of our survivors before they set out to Pulau Tiga. He also monitored their behaviour on the island. Welcome, Stephen. It's nice to meet you at last. Yes.
Thank you, John.
£1 million. It's a life-changing sum of money.
It is.
What thoughts are running through Charlotte's and Jackie's head at the moment?
I would think there'd be a mixture of relief at getting through to the final stage. I would think there would be some excitement, some sort of demob happy type feelings, as we saw there, and probably some apprehension as they start thinking about the next full day and the tribal council. Right, now we're going to bring in now the Flettometer. Indeed.
The first time ever this is seen. I'm going to bring it in the beginning and at the end.
Okay.
But this is your prediction of what actually is going to happen with the vote tonight. Okay.
It is.
So if we could start off with Andy, how do you think he's going to vote? Bearing in mind he used to be with Halang.
I'm pretty confident Andy will vote for Charlotte, and I'm confident James will go the same way. They were both very protective of her in the post-merger phase of the game.
Right.
Pete, I think, will go with Jackie. Tribal loyalty, even though he felt betrayed, he may have forgiven her by now. Christian values and all that. Zoe and Eve, I think, would probably like to abstain if they could, but they can't. I think they'll both go for Jackie as the lesser of two evils.
Right.
Mick, I think, will go with Jackie. She did rub medication into his backside.
Yes, that deserves a vote.
No man could ask for more. Richard, I'm unsure of. Could go either way. I'm going to leave him in the middle for the time being.
Okay, well, it wouldn't matter if that was the score. Thank you very much, Stephen. We'll see if your mind changed later on.
Okay.
As we know, the jury is formed from the last 7 survivors to be voted off the island. Originally, there were 16 survivors, and we're delighted they are all here with us tonight for the very first time. So, first of all, let's meet the first 7 competitors to be voted off the island. Please welcome Uzma, Simon, JJ, Adrian, Nick, Jane, and Sarah. back, you lot. It's your first opportunity to talk with each other. Are the knives out? There's a few scores to settle, I think. Yes, yes. Adrian, I'll start with you. When you came on the show, you were talking about Simon and how you didn't like the fact that he voted you off.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm not, it's been a long time. I'm not the sort of person to hold a grudge, but I still can't believe he'd done it to me. Can't believe he stabbed a friend in the back.
Simon, why?
Well, I don't know about that. I was more interested in getting rid of all the good-looking guys first, I think. Give myself a better chance. But when you look at Adrian's physical abilities and compare it to the effort he showed in some of the events and around the campsite, I think he was more interested in getting a suntan than he was in winning some of the challenges. Right. And I think he took his life on the island a little bit for granted.
Uzma, now, Andy also stabbed you in the back. Is it okay him sitting behind you?
I forgave him, yeah. We had lots of lovely cuddles, so I'm looking at that.
Oh, sorry. Is there something you want to tell us? Right. Nick, you were one of the first evictees of. You kind of never really got to know many people. Is there a question you'd like to put since your kind of eviction from the island?
Yeah, a question to Sarah. So you and I both enjoy a healthy outdoor lifestyle. I wonder what prompted you to vote me off first?
Ooh. Well, it wasn't a decision I made lightly, especially when we lost that first immunity challenge against Halang and seeing how strong Halang were and the strength that you need to win these immunity challenges. But I just felt for my own preservation, and I did hear that my name was mentioned by you as being a possible person to be evicted at that first tribal council. I just felt I'd go along with the tribe just for myself, really.
That was it.
Sorry.
A slip of the tongue, Nick. Jane, are you my favourite bossy boot still?
I'm afraid so.
Yes?
I think it's probably increased since I've come back from the experience on the island, and I work my girls doubly hard.
Oh.
But they love it.
Right. JJ, you were the first girl to be voted off. How do you feel the programme has panned out?
I think now the final result has definitely been survival of the weakest. And if you would like to know... I do. Most definitely. And my opinion is obviously...
some things have never changed there.
No, obviously many people have told me that. I think if you want to try to find who the true survivor is, maybe put us all in reverse order.
Magnificent seven.
Well, thanks, JJ. Strong and contentious views there. One thing, though, is for certain, back on the island of Pulau Tiga, Jackie and Charlotte's last day was filled with thoughts of what lies ahead.
When I left Tribal Council, I was still sort of reeling in emotion, and I burst into tears as we first left because I just felt all the pressure building up on me that had been building for the last 40 days spent on this island, and I'd finally done it. I finally got through to the final two.
I think the real friends I've made since I've been here would be Mick and Charlotte. Although I have been friends on the island with Rich, we haven't really got a lot in common, and I don't think we would probably make time to see each other off the island. But certainly Mick and Charlotte, there isn't a shadow of doubt in my mind that we will keep in touch.
Jackie is a good person to be here with because a lot of people perhaps think she hasn't pulled her weight throughout the whole show. We get on so well, and you know, we're having a fantastic time. The images imprinted on my mind forever are going to be waking up in the morning and watching the sunrise, going out and catching my first ray, going swimming and bathing in the sea, waking up amongst a group of people who I don't really know. There's so many different images that it's going to take me a long time to go over every single one of them.
The experiences I've had here on the island, you just couldn't buy these experiences. It's just fantastic. It's challenged me physically and mentally, and I've come through it, and I know what my levels are of endurance and what I can put up with, and it's given me loads of inspiration really for what I might be able to do in the future.
I'm glad I'm on this island with you at the end because we've got on really well, haven't we?
And we also said that yesterday was really odd.
It's a weird day.
Camp.
Yeah.
Not because we don't like Richard or didn't get on with him, but it was odd, wasn't it?
It was odd.
tense.
It was just strange and
there's
strange.
nothing to be tense about now because it's one decision or the other, and we've both done brilliantly well to get here.
I know, we've done fantastically well.
What do you think the similarities are in how we've played the game? Do you think there are any?
I don't know. What do you reckon?
I think you've been more flirtatious than me.
No, I don't know. You were mixing to get on very well.
That's a father figure.
Yeah.
I don't know if there are any similarities how we played the game. Just winged it, really.
Yeah, just pulled a fast one.
Stephen, how do you think Jackie and Charlotte coped on that final day? It looked not too stressful.
Very well, I think. None of us really know what they're going through. It's a unique situation, but I think women are pretty good at communicating on different levels at the same time. On the surface, they're getting on well, cooperating. Underneath the surface, they're planning their speeches and competing for £1 million still.
Right. Thanks, Steve. Back to the survivors. We've received hundreds of emails from viewers with questions for our first 7. Nick, this one's for you, from David in Worcester. In the first episode, it was between you and Jackie to be voted out. How do you feel now she is in the final 2?
She has done so well. Damn.
Well, if you'd like to have your say on Survivor tonight, you can tell us who you think should win Survivor. You've been phoning in your thousands. It's only 60 minutes past 8 and we've already had 46,000 calls. The result so far is Charlotte 58% and Jackie with 42%. You can still have your say if you want to vote and you think it's Charlotte. Call 09068 444401. And for Jackie, call 09068 444402. Calls will cost you no more than 10p. Join us after the break when we'll be meeting the jury who will have to decide if it's Charlotte or Jackie who will take home this £1 million in cash. Welcome back to Survivor. Boy, you've been busy in the break. On the phones, we've had an amazing 71,000 calls. So let's have a look at who you've been phoning for. How does the phone poll look at the moment? Oh, it's still Charlotte 55 and Jackie 45. Jackie's creeping up, though. We got an email, statement rather, from Emma Nottingham. Commiserations to the first 7 off the island. I guess the nature of the game is that the strongest are often the first to go. I thought you all did really well, even Adrian. Back to the island of Pulau-Tiga. Jackie and Charlotte both realise they are so close to the £1 million, but they both have to win the favour and the vote of that all-important 7-member jury.
I didn't get any vibes from the jury last night. Pete's been very smiley and winks and gives you a little bit of encouragement, but nobody else.
I think there's going to be floating members of the jury. Richard I'm concerned about because obviously I didn't take him through, but he should realise that he wasn't going to take me through, and the reasons why he wouldn't take me through is it because he thinks I'm more deserving than Jackie.
I certainly think the Halang boys will vote for her simply because of the Halang relationship. But the others, it could go either way.
I'm also a bit worried that Richard will have an influence on Pete. Although I did get on well with Pete.
Eve dislikes both of us, but she despises me. And Zoe, I don't know. Zoe didn't like Charlotte over the chocolate incident when it got auctioned. She may not have forgiven her, but then she thought that I was untrustworthy.
Zoe, I also feel, is a floater. I'm not sure if she's going to sort of go with me or go with Jackie.
It could go either way. I'm not too sure.
I've got my fingers crossed, and I'm sure what will be, and I'll let fate decide.
Yeah, it's in the hands of fate. Stephen, can the girls vindicate their behaviour over the last 39 days? Have both finalists rewritten history to a certain extent?
I wouldn't call it rewriting history. It sounds a bit too malicious or conscious. Psychologists call it selective memory, selective perception. They're emphasising the things that make them feel better about themselves. We all do it all the time.
Right, and the jury then, on the other side of the fence, they're in a fairly strong position, but how have they coped with the responsibility?
They've taken it very seriously in 2 ways. Firstly, they're mindful of the impact of the million can be a very constructive or a very destructive thing. They're very aware of that. Secondly, they're very keen to influence personally the outcome of the game they've put a lot of energy into.
Thanks, Stephen. Our 2 finalists have been on the island for the whole 40 days and 40 nights. Keeping a firm hand on the game has been the job of just one man. That person has also spent 40 days on Pulau-Tiga with our survivors. Please welcome, got to stand up for this, the one, the only, Mr. Mark Austin.
Lovely in here, isn't it?
Oh, you've still got the tan then.
It's fine in here, isn't it? It was Cornwall.
Was it Cornwall?
Yeah,
I believe
Cornwall,
it. So spill the beans then. That was a tough gig for you, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. One of the toughest, I have to say, yeah.
What conditions were you and the crew under?
Well, I read somewhere that we're living in a luxury resort. Right. And food parties every night, but it's not true.
Do we believe them?
No, I have to say the production was about 140 of us. Living in these log cabins, 3 to a cabin, no air conditioning, no running hot water. Not as bad as these guys, but it was still. We had the same mosquitoes, we had the same problems as you did. Right. But let's face it, we weren't going to get £1 million at the end of it, were we?
True,
so,
true.
But no, it was pretty hard, and the camera crews did an amazing job, humping the gear through the jungle, and it was tough. It was tough.
I'll stop you there.
They had it a lot tougher.
Yeah. What was it like for you, though, seeing, what was developing? The tension's obviously rising every week, day?
Well, I think the most interesting thing that struck me was at the beginning. They were just concentrating on surviving. Where was the food going to come from? What sort of shelter were they going to get? How they were going to get to sleep? Dealing with the weather. And it was only when the numbers started to reduce, the last sort of 7 or 8, that they started thinking, well, hang on a minute, there's a chance of £1 million here. And they started focusing on that. At the beginning, it really was about, day-to-day survival. And the tension increased as they got towards the £1 million.
Great stuff. We'll do more of that later. Before they got to that day, though, the £1 million day, to that tribal council, Charlotte and Jackie prepared themselves for the biggest moment on the island.
Last cup of tea on the island. Cheers. Cheers. Still too hot to drink. Very nice, sir.
Time for a contemplative think on what we're going to say to the jury.
Yeah.
I could think up lots of vicious rumours about you to say.
I could think up lots about you. Problem is, they're not rumours, they're true.
I feel completely and utterly insane. I've got a piece of cardboard which I've ripped from a box, and what I say here could be worth £1 million, or it could be worth chucking on the fire. It's so difficult. How do you decide what you want to say when the words that you use will decide whether you win £1 million or not?
It's a strange situation to be in. I feel better with this piece of card. It's a bit like a lifeline for me. If I need a bit of oxygen, I feel I can take it in. So I hope they don't mind me taking the card. They'll probably laugh. But I don't really want to think about it. It's something... It's really, really nerve-wracking. And it's got to be the most nerve-wracking experience since I've got here.
Oh dear, it's just so worrying. I've got butterflies, my bottom lip's going. I've just got to say, you're right, it's a game. Lucky to get this far. Just chill out now. It's almost taken out of my hands. What I've done in the past 6 or 7 weeks has decided my fate, and only I am responsible for that. It's so difficult, because you don't want to sound really, I don't know, up your own bum. But you don't want to sound like you think you're a loser already.
That's right.
So it's just
you've got to be careful, haven't you?
It's a difficult thing to write. Shall I go away and leave you again?
I just need a couple of minutes just to sort of write a little bit, because I'm a bit of a panic. Maybe I deserve to win it more than she does, maybe she does me. Luckily I'm not a jury member because I'm here, but I really don't know what decisions are going to be made.
I haven't lied. As far as I can remember, I haven't lied to anyone in this game. Not a proper lie. So I would like to think that perhaps people thought I played it honestly and that I played it cleverly.
If I don't win it, my epitaph will be, she came to the island, she had a fantastic experience, she made more friends than enemies, she tried her best, and she left with a wonderful experience.
If Charlotte wins tonight, then she's played a great game, and I would be immensely happy for her. But obviously I'm in a situation now where I could be a millionaire tomorrow, or I might not, and obviously I'd much rather be a millionaire. It's just going into the unknown again. I suppose we should just treat it like another challenge, a new immunity challenge.
Yeah!
And I'm due for a win.
Not this time, darling. I'm on a roll.
Uh-oh.
Fighting to the bitter end. So the jury have an agonising decision to make. Who should get the £1 million? Please welcome the millionaire makers, our jurors, Andy, James, Pete, Zoe, Eve, Mick and Richard. Face to face, not a spear in sight. Fantastic. Okay. Andy and your team, welcome. That is some responsibility, though, to decide who ultimately has that amount of money.
I guess it was quite a responsibility, yes, and it's something that certainly I felt personally that I took very seriously. I didn't want to be responsible for ruining somebody's life, because I'm very well aware of the fact that £1 million can be a force for a destructive force as well as a very positive force.
Okay. Well, some of that money might buy you some new clothes, James, especially for Tribal Council. What was going on with those T-shirts?
The T-shirts, they were a bit of a laugh, really. We just wanted to remind everybody, you know, we were there, we were the jury, and perhaps send back a few sort of subtle messages to one or two of them.
I think you did that. Peter, being a Christian, Andy's touched on the damage money can do. Did you have trouble with your conscience?
No, really, you don't need to be a Christian to realise £1 million is a lot of money and it can change someone's life. I think it was just our job to make sure we gave it to the person that deserved it the most.
Okay. Zoe, you were quite close at the end, you know. At one point, you did hold all the cards.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I was holding all the cards and I was making a little card castle, and then they just crumbled in the sand around my sandals, and the game was up for me.
And that was you.
That was it.
Eve, what was it like for you getting so close?
Yeah, the £1 million was just sort of just over there, but not quite close enough. And you know, since you've been home, you sort of see all these lovely cars drive past and you think, I could have had one of those, but it's gone.
And Mick, everybody's favourite. I mean, you know, the girls love you, you love the girls. It's a very, very. Have I touched on something? No. No. A very difficult decision for you to make, though.
Yeah, it was difficult because you're dabbling with two people's lives. One, you're going to change one's life forever with £1 million, and the other, the trauma of losing is probably going to be really dramatic.
And Richard, finally, the bookie's favourite, perhaps.
Really?
Do you think you deserve to be in the final?
I put in a hell of a lot of effort, but beat my two better competitors at the end of the day.
Okay, that's very well put. Yes, that deserves a round of applause, I think. Well done. Well, this is the moment. Now that I have all of you here, you can't run, you can't hide. I'd like to ask you if you have any confessions you'd like to own up to now. I'd like to remind everybody about Mick's confessions last night. Mick, what was that again? What did you do?
Well, I mean, I cut the fishing lines, but I mean, you have to understand.
You cut the fishing lines?
Well, yes, but I mean, we weren't doing very well. My cat would have caught more fish than we were, so
okay.
It wasn't that bad.
So you cut the only source of food off, potentially. What else?
Well, there was the ketchup.
Ketchup?
Yeah. Well, that moved, but that's another story.
Right. But Eve took the rap for that, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Yeah. Zoe and Eve, you were both accused of thieving.
We were.
Two thieves in a pod.
Absolutely.
How do you feel now? Who wants first blood?
Have you got the knife or have I?
I've got one here, look, there we go. There we go.
Take that left in my back.
Got over it?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
there
says.
There is one question that has remained unanswered. The rice. Who stole the rice? Mick, it's not a hat trick.
I didn't take that much. I'm sure somebody else must have taken some as well.
Mick, you dodgy copper.
Did it go the same way as the sausages?
No, it didn't. No.
What did you do with the rice?
I threw it away.
What was your reasoning behind this? Was it to demoralise them?
Yeah, it was to demoralise them and start getting them questioning each other, so they'd perhaps start splitting up.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks, Mick. We've got an email here. I've been sitting on it. Andy, back to you from Katie in Sheffield. I have never seen anything as commendable as standing on that log for as long as you did. Definitely the highlight of the game. quickly.
I can tell you I wouldn't have stayed there half that long if Nigel Lithgow hadn't nailed my feet to the log.
Well, our jury have already voted, but let's see how you at home have been voting. Let's have an update on the phone poll. Here it goes. Jackie, 46. Charlotte, 54%. We've had 120,000 votes already, but keep calling. There's plenty of time. If you want your say, remember you can vote for Charlotte on 09068 444401 and Jackie on 09068 444402. We've heard all about them. We've seen their last days on the island. One of them will be taking home £1 million, and they'll be joining me here, live in the studio, in 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We've already met 14 of our survivors tonight. Now it's time to meet the final two. In a short while, one of these two will walk home a millionaire. The other, maybe a bus. Please welcome Charlotte and Jackie. Okay. Cool. You're all friends again, eh? Cool. We can do this in a bit later, okay? I know you haven't seen him for a while. It's very good to meet you two both, but basically, you know, one of you two is going to be a millionaire very, very soon. What's running through your heads?
Oh, there's loads.
Yeah?
It's me. No, it's really exciting, but so nervous excitement building up, and it's just such an impossible thing to imagine. You just can't imagine it. Oh, yes, I can.
Jackie?
Well, we've been waiting for this moment for a couple of months now, and we've got 2 hours, and we'll find out, so it's very exciting.
Well, you've got a lot less than that. You know, you've got about an hour left, I think.
Oh.
Charlotte, the press have christened you Charlotte the Harlot.
Yeah.
And your husband is here tonight. I understand you've both been through difficult times. What's the state of play now?
Well, after this, I'll probably be the Scarlet Charlotte. But, I mean, press print of loads of things, and so much has been blown out of all proportion, it's untrue. Mark and I are really happy, and there's bigger and better things to look forward to.
Okay, well put. And Jackie, you've had to keep this very quiet for a long time. You touched on there. How have you managed it, and what was it like when you could tell everybody?
Well, I kept a low profile off the island, as I did on the island, and it's great now that all my family and friends know. They can't believe that I managed to keep it a secret this long. And it feels real now because everybody knows.
Well, what is certain is that the jury have to decide which one of you will take home the £1 million and which one will be getting the bus home. But what do they really think of you both? Here's some of their thoughts.
Jackie tries to be devious, but isn't clever enough to be devious because her mouth's too big to be devious, and she keeps dropping herself in it.
My concern is Jackie, but your concern is too. She flips and starts all over the place because she feels insecure.
She could be manipulated, perhaps,
No, and she's very. I think she can manipulate.
Yeah.
To my mind, it would be a real shame to see someone like Jackie win the $1 million.
I don't think Jackie's done anything.
She's done absolutely nothing.
I owe you nothing, Jackie. I don't have to be nice to you anymore. I don't like you.
Charlotte will speak her mind and express her opinion regardless of whether or not she has anything valuable to say.
Highly selfish, highly greedy, devious, and incredibly vain.
Before long, Charlotte might have to go before I drown her.
I don't have a great deal of time or respect for her, I'm afraid. Even through a snorkel, she manages to give me a headache.
It's this constant screech in your ear that winds me up. Should we all be quiet? Right, Zoe.
Hey, oh, calm down. It's a good job, you have been kissed before. Any comments there?
Well, I knew I had a lot of friends on the jury. I just didn't realise how much.
Hello?
I'm wondering when my bad points are coming up. But,
All right. Well, that's something to go on. Well, you did have, in fact, one last chance to win votes and change opinions at the final tribal council. Mark, tell us about how that council was different from the other ones that you experienced on the island.
It was markedly different. I mean, there'd been a storm that night, but the air hadn't cleared. It was incredibly hot in the 90s. The humidity was probably 98%. It was a very oppressive heat, and it just caught the kind of atmosphere. And there was this human drama going on in the middle of it, where these two young women had to stand up and make speeches which effectively were going to decide whether or not they won £1 million. It was an extraordinary kind of atmosphere.
Well, we've heard about it. Let's see it.
Welcome to your final tribal council. You place your torches in their stands and take your seats. Welcome to the jury. These 7 former members of Sakutu will essentially decide your fate tonight. They'll decide which of you is to leave with £1 million and which of you is to leave with nothing. Now, Charlotte and Jackie, you have a chance tonight to make opening speeches to the jury. Has it been decided which of you will go first?
Yes, I will.
Jackie, you have the floor.
When I got up this morning to watch the final sunrise on the island, I started to think about what words I could use to you on the jury to try and convince you to award me the worthy winner of £1 million. And it's an impossible task. How can you choose those words? So what I will try to do is, for those of you who don't know me as well as the others, I'll try and let you in on the strategy that I have been playing with, and it may help you understand my actions a little better on the island. First of all, my strategy when I landed on the island was to fly under the radar, to make a strong alliance that I could stick with till the end, and to make it to the merger. Now, all of those things I managed to do to a certain extent, but it wasn't quite as simple as that. Perhaps I'd made an alliance and I heard through the grapevine that people had actually changed their opinion of me. They wanted to get me off the island, and I had to do something to rectify that situation. It's a case of staying one step ahead of the game and saving my own skin. Now, I've saved myself more times than I can probably count. From the day I landed on the island, I've been under attack. I was due to be the first person to leave. Managed to swing that round with the help of other people I made an alliance with, and I was living on borrowed time from there on in, and I'm glad to say that I did make a strong alliance which stood me in good stead to get me at least into the final 3. I also wanted to touch upon with the jury the fact that a lot of you, I believe, have made a decision on who actually deserves to win, and I'd like to think that you're not just basing that on strength. And I'm not the best person at blowing my own trumpet. I've got a self-depreciating manner, but the fact of the matter is I know I can achieve a lot. And when I was on the island, it wasn't a case of maintaining my fitness so that I could do these challenges well. It was a case of improving my fitness, and so that I continually got better and better and better. And for those of you who are around in the later stages of the game, you would have seen that I did improve my performance in those, and there's some performances that I'm completely proud of. Now, how do you decide who deserves to win it? Is it a case of strength, or is it a case of a person who plays the game well and secures their position many times over to get into the final 2? So those were the words I chose.
Charlotte, it's your turn to make your opening statement to the jury.
When I first came to this island, I wanted a life-changing experience, and everything I've gained from the minute that I got here has far exceeded that. Every single jungle walk, every time I've learnt to live on the island, learning to get on with different individuals, and just learning to survive. You never get anything in life unless you put in 100% all the time. No matter when I was feeling down or when I was feeling happy, I always put in 100% because I knew I would never forgive myself unless I did that. I've done that when I was with the Halang team. I always went for every single challenge that I thought I could assist them with. There's no way I wanted to be carried into the merger. I wanted to be a part of the people who got us through to the merger and people who deserve to go in. I've tried to use my personality a lot since coming to the island. I feel that I've got quite a bubbly personality, although it probably annoys people at times. But I've tried to get on well with as many people as possible, be happy and keep spirits high so that people want me around the camp, and just to try my hardest to get as many people through to the merger as possible. And that leads me to the merger. I mean, we arrived there and we were sitting ducks waiting to be shot. And for that reason, I feel that my most incredible achievement is the fact that nobody shot me. Was I forgotten about? I doubt it. I'm a bit loud. But nobody shot me and I'm here now. I mean, that's incredible that I've managed to come from nothing and get to the final two when there was times 2 weeks ago I was just waiting to leave the island. But even when I was waiting to be voted off, I wasn't going to give up. I was always going to try my hardest, and I've always put in maximum effort no matter what I've done. I just wanted to mention one thing to Richard, and that's that I felt terrible about what I had to do yesterday. You were so nice to me, you gave me that reward, and if I had have chosen you to come through with me, you would have probably committed me to the mental home, because I know that you probably deserve to win this more than I do. I just wanted to let you know that that's the reason I picked Jackie.
Thank you.
Basically, I just want you to look at me and try and remember as many things as you can, not just single incidents, but loads of different qualities. And if you can see qualities in yourself that I have got in myself, and that would make you deserve to win, then I hope you can look at me and see the qualities that I've brought to the island and see how hard I've worked every single step of the way. Thank you.
Yeah, great speeches, Jackie and Charlotte. Charlotte, you came through a lot on the island. What do you consider, apart from making the final two, would be your greatest achievement on Pulau Tiga?
I think it's fantastic that I made it through to the merger, because it meant that I was going through with a very strong group of people, and that would be to my benefit, because although I'm strong, I'm obviously not as strong as certain people, and unfortunately for them, I knew they would be the first target, which would give me the time to possibly build up alliances and friendships, which I was able to do.
Right. And Jackie, it's the first time you've seen that since the day you did it. How do you think you did?
Well, I wanted to make it quite clear that I was working to a strategy, because during the time I was there, people were saying, you don't deserve to win and you're being carried, and Jackie will vote whatever way we tell her to. That's clearly not true, because had I voted the way people told me to, I wouldn't be here in the final two. So I just wanted the jury to know that I did have a game plan.
Stephen, watching the two speeches, Charlotte used notes and Jackie's kind of came from the heart. What does the presentation tell you, and what indeed was the content for you?
First of all, I'd like to say I thought they both did brilliantly, because the Tribal Council at the best of times, as Marcus suggested, is a cross between a cathedral and a courtroom. The atmosphere is electric and it raises the heart rates of the contestants every time they're there. This was even more intense. They both did very well, but different preparations. Jackie seemed to speak from the heart and reflected during the day, a bit more introverted maybe. Charlotte seemed to be more active in her preparation and in her speech. But I think Jackie was a bit more assertive as well.
OK, thanks, Stephen. Those numbers again, if you want to phone in for who you think should win the million. Charlotte, call 09068 444401. And for Jackie, 09068 444402. Calls are cost no more than 10p. So far, 170,000 callers. Keep them coming. And if you've got any questions for our finalists, email by logging on to the website, www.itv-survivor.co.uk. After the break, our finalists will be questioned by the jury.
I could have held my hands up. So could have you when you knew there was an alliance against you.
It's about you, Jack. Sorry, I'm on this side.
And either Charlotte or Jackie will be going home with the £1 million in cash.